This lesson is to help students better understand how different fractions are equivalent to one another and how each fraction is split up to equal parts of a whole. To start out on this lesson, I would have students create their own fraction strip manipulatives. By doing this, students are able to take the materials home with them and practice and study on their own, and plus sometimes resources can be limited within the classroom. I found a lot of good worksheets online that start out with a page similar to this, and then the students would color in their blocks and cut them apart to create their own fraction strips. After the class prepared all of that, I would start by re-emphasizing the part of a whole. This is one whole solid thing, and then we're going to start by dividing our fractions into smaller pieces. I would then have the students look at 1/2 first. By using these, they can see if you take the one strip and cut it into two equal pieces, it equals 1/2. 2 halves then equal a whole. If the students then cut their half into two pieces, they will get 2/4. And they can see by placing those like that 2/4 make a half, and then for the 4s make a whole. Now while I am demonstrating this, I wanted to emphasize too that these are equal pieces. It would not work if our 4s were divided like that. They have to be of equal pieces. Okay. After looking at 4s, I would move up to the 1/8, showing that 2/8 equal a 4th. 4/8 equal a half. And then the 8/8 equal a whole. Now I would start with this concept of equivalent fractions first because they can start by dividing each piece in half. Then once students understand that, I would move on to the thirds. After we divide the 1 into equal parts, we have our thirds. And then I would divide the third into equal parts and have our 6. And also show that 6 equals 6 equal 1 whole. Last but not least, I would use my fists to demonstrate equivalent fractions to my students. By dividing the 1 into 5 equal parts, you create 1/5. And then by dividing those fifths into equal parts, you create 1/10. And the students are able to line those up and see again as well. These also work very well because when converting to decimals, I have laminated these so students can use dry erase markers to write the equivalent decimal as well. Now in the second lesson, to help students visually understand fractions, I would introduce the number line to them. Here you have 0 to 1, and I would show that by dividing that into 2, we have 1/2 and 1/2 to make the whole. And you have students shade in 1/2 of the line if you wish to. I would then have those students also divide it into 4s. So I've already pre-measured these to save some time. 1/4, 2/4, oops, 3/4. And then I would also show that 1 equals 4/4 here. And then you could have a worksheet from there asking them to demonstrate what 3/4 would be, and they could shade to the appropriate level. I would take it a step farther and do eighths again as well, showing 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8. By doing the number line, students can also see that 4/8 is equivalent to 1/2, just as they could on the fraction bars. They can also see that 2/4 is also equivalent to 1/2. These are just a few manipulatives I found helpful in explaining equivalent fractions to third graders.